taking a look at
case of
the story behind the disappearance.
Hello and welcome. I'm Chris, and in this video, we're going to take a look at the murder of Rayna Angelica Marroquin. After a failed marriage, Reyna left her husband in El Salvador in August of 1966 and moved to New York to start a new life. Shortly after, she became embroiled in a deadly love triangle that led to her murder in 1969. She was only 28 years old and 9 months pregnant. Once in America, she wasted no time taking English classes and classes at the High School of Fashion Industries. Soon after, she landed a job working at Melrose Plastics, a factory that made plastic trees and flowers. Over the next 3 years, Reyna would write numerous letters to her family updating them on her new life in America. When the letters abruptly stopped in 1969, her relatives feared the worst and put an announcement in the El Salvador papers stating that she was missing in New York. Despite their efforts, Reyna's disappearance remained a mystery for 30 years. In the fall of 1999, a gentleman named Hamid purchased a home at 67 Forest Drive in Jericho, New York, Nassau County. During the inspection, he found an abandoned 55-gallon drum weighing 345 pounds in the crawl space. Hamid asked the seller, Ronald Cohen, to have it removed. Apparently, this barrel had been sitting in the crawl space for as long as Ronald had lived there. Because of the warning label on the barrel, he never had been tempted to open it. On September 2, 1999, Ronald pried open the drum's lid and made a horrifying discovery. Lying there amongst a pile of plastic pellets was a mummified hand and a shoe. When the authorities arrived, they recovered the mummified remains from the barrel. An autopsy showed that the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the back of the head. The authorities also determined that the woman had been young, petite, and likely of South American descent. But perhaps the saddest discovery was that of a 17-inch fetus. This woman had been carrying a nearly full-term baby boy. Detectives were desperate to know who this woman was, and more importantly, the person responsible for her brutal murder. Luckily, investigators found clues in the drum, including green dye, a plastic flower stem, and a damp address book. The drum itself provided vital information. Markings on the barrel indicated that it was manufactured in 1965 for transporting dye and shipped to Melrose Plastic. The plastic flower was the kind produced by Melrose Plastics as well. At first glance, the address book looked destroyed, but miraculously, skilled forensic technicians were able to extract names and numbers from the pulpy mess. While most of the people identified in the address book had long since moved, detectives caught a break when they reached one of the named individuals, Kathy Andrade. When detectives explained why they were calling, Kathy immediately knew that the woman in the barrel had to be her friend Reyna, who had inexplicably disappeared in 1969. The two women had met in English class and became close. Kathy shared that Reyna had confided in her that she was pregnant. While her baby's father had promised to marry her, Reyna had her doubts given that he was already married with children. Kathy further alleged that Reyna had called her boyfriend's house and told his wife about their affair. This infuriated her boyfriend, who threatened to kill her. That was the last thing Reyna told her before she disappeared. In addition to the drum being directly traceable to Melrose Plastics, investigators found that the house in the 1960s was owned by none other than Howard Elkins, part owner of the very factory where Reyna had worked before her disappearance. Howard's name was also listed in Reyna's address book. An anonymous phone call to Nassau County Police Department helped put the final puzzle pieces into place. The caller did not know the deceased woman's identity, but he did share that Howard had been having an extramarital affair in the 1960s with a Hispanic woman who worked at his factory. This would have explained the fact that Reyna's young son, whom she sometimes brought to the factory, was rumored to have been fathered by Howard. All signs pointed to Rayna Marroquin being the pregnant woman in the barrel and Howard being the father of the unborn baby. On September 9, 1999, detectives tracked down Howard. now 71 years old, living in a retirement community with his wife in Florida. To say that he was uncooperative would be an understatement. He admitted that he had cheated on his wife while working at the factory, but he claimed to remember nothing about his mistress' name or physical appearance. He couldn't explain how his company's barrel came to be in his crawl space, nor how his name came to be written in Reyna's address book. Lastly, he refused to provide a DNA sample to clear his name. The detectives warned him that they'd be back with a warrant. The next day, on September 10th, 1999, Howard committed suicide by shooting himself in the head with a shotgun in his neighbor's garage. He left no note offering an explanation or closure for his family. Detectives were finally able to obtain Howard's DNA, which revealed with 99.93% certainty that he was the father of Reyna's unborn child. Reyna's final moments, investigators believe that Howard lured Reyna to the factory and killed her in a fit of rage. The autopsy found blood around some of the wounds, indicating that Reyna was still alive while being savagely beaten in the head. He then took her dead body to his home in Jericho, where he stuffed her into a steel drum, possibly intending to dump her body into the ocean. However, the drum's massive weight made it impossible to move, so he left it in the crawl space where it remained for the next 30 years. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Also, leaving a like on this video raises awareness to this case and many others.